my decision to run for the senatorial seat in the Lagos East Senatorial District stems from the fact of experience and competence, my antecedents. For example, I just told you that I'm the former Deputy High Commissioner of Nigeria to the United Kingdom, and I was also Nigeria's Consul General to Saudi Arabia in Jeddah. And I've served in the diplomatic service for upwards of 30-something years. If you put this thing together, all these things that I've mentioned, you would realize that what we need in this country to move the nation forward is to align with competence and experience. The risk of being a modest, I come with a baggage, with a load of competence and experience, actually. I've had the privilege of representing Nigeria in so many countries of the world. For example, I started my career in the Republic of Cameroon, our neighboring state here in Nigeria. That was in the 80s. And I moved to Tehran, Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran. I also served in, Syria, Turkey, all these, sometimes concurrent accreditation. To that extent, but I retired, as an ambassador in England. So when I retired, I now took a decision that
what year was that?
That was in 2014. So having attained the age of 60. So now I said, having done what I've done for the federal government, the government has provided me with a very, very good platform, an incredible platform of exposure. And this exposure can only be utilized to the advantage of this country if I venture into politics, because it is one thing for you to stay behind and start criticizing and complaining. But you see, the mistake people make is that you cannot really influence any positive change if you are not part of the political development, the political history of this country. So that's why I've decided to throw my hat in the ring and join the political fray. And I joined the All Progressive Congress in 2014 when I retired. I took a decision after a lot of introspection into, what I should do after my retirement. So the decision was well taken, and here we are. I have to do what I have to do. I can tell you at the risk of being immodest that I've been well received. In fact, a lot of people have come to me thanking God that at long last, at least they can beat their chest and say the person we want to send to the Senate is somebody who has the requisite qualification, the requisite experience, and the requisite credentials, because I have a master's degree in international law and diplomacy, I have a bachelor's in English and philosophy, and I have another postgraduate diploma in mass communication. So if you bring all this together with the practical experience that I have had in the course of my career that spanned over 30 years, you know that, you can only imagine what I'll be able to do when I get to this.
We just want to know what's a senatorial district exactly.
Yeah.
And what are the package you have?
Okay. Now, for example, we are talking of the Lagos East Senatorial District, comprising Ekpe, Ibejuleki, Shomolu, Koshofe, and Ikorodu. Of course, I'm from Ekpe in Okeposu. I'm coming out from Ward A2 in Ekpe. And like I did say, when you were there, I don't know whether you were not there, when I was talking to the LGA chairman, I did tell them that I looked back in the process of my introspection. I said, what can I do to change the narrative of our political arrangement in this country? So I said, the teeming masses of the unemployed, on the streets, it touches me. Because my background is very humble. I grew up as an orphan at a very young age. I lost my parents, and it's not been very easy, but I thank God today. So what I intend to do, for example, primarily, is to ensure that we try and bring a kind of empowerment that would bring in, you know, all these people on the streets, that if we have to train them to acquire some skill sets, we can equally do that very well. And of course, there's another major thing that touches my heart very much. I did speak about Lagos being the primus inter pares, you know, amongst all the states of the Federation. If you look at the economy of Lagos, you know, it's something else. It's about 80% of the economy of Nigeria, the Federal Republic. So to that extent, everybody, you know, Lagos is like the philosopher's lodestone to every nooks and crannies in Nigeria. Everybody comes into Lagos, and immediately they come, they don't want to leave. So that's why I will be pushing, as some have done, but with more vigor and vehemence, for a special status for Lagos State. So these are some of the, you know, goodies that I have, you know, and I'm sure, you know, at the end of the day, when you marry all this to where I've been, my antecedents, you know, I have been in the inner sanctum of governance. I know how government works, and I know how to push some of these things. And I've made a decision, you know, to really come forward and do what I can do to enhance and further ameliorate the situation of Nigerians, and at the end of the day, to do a greater good to Nigeria. So that at the end of the day, when I leave the, you know, political scene, it would have been said that, oh, this man has left a very good legacy. That's what I stand for.
And just to satisfy curiosity there, why the choice of APC?
Well, you know, APC is the ruling party, for example, in Nigeria. Aside from that, in Lagos State, APC, you know, has the kind of ideology, the kind of program that you can, you know, key into. Because look at what Ambode is doing in Lagos, for example. We're talking political performance, you know. Ambode is performing in Lagos, and if you are interested in performance politics of, you know, infrastructural development, politics of results, you know, you cannot but key into this, you know, APC, you know, program. You know, that's why I'm pitching my tent, you know, with the APC. So